Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today's video, I'm going to be speaking about new graduate RN interviews and sharing my tips with you for how you can do your absolute best for your new grad RN position interview. So first job as an RN interviews are so exciting, but also so nerve-wracking. I remember when I was getting to the time where I was interviewing for RN positions, it almost felt like I was in a different person's body, like an out-of-body experience. Like I was interpreting someone else because nursing school flies by so fast, and then it feels like you just started and now you're interviewing or preparing to interview for registered nurse jobs. And I just felt like, who is this person? I don't know this girl. Feels like I should still be a nursing student. So my first tip is to, depending on what unit you are hoping to work in, secure your final clinical placement in that area. This is going to be so helpful for your interview because it will allow you to have applicable clinical experiences that you can share with the individuals interviewing you, and as well it will show that you are knowledgeable, you have experience in that area, and at the end of the day that's going to help you because the people interviewing you, it's going to help you stand out because they know that you have experience in that area and you know that you like it, because at the end of the day they want a high retention rate for the people that they're hiring. If you are unable to secure a position in that exact specialty or area, I would suggest securing one that could help you in the area that you want to get into. So for example, I got hired as a new graduate RN in the NICU, and I was lucky enough that I was able to get through school a large amount of NICU experience, but I know that some of my fellow hires, they were unable to, some of them, secure their final placement in NICU, but they knew that they were interested in that area. So for example, they took a clinical placement in the ER, which is helpful in an ICU area because you're still getting that high acuity and it shows your future employer that you have experience with that level of care and you know that you can handle it and you're still interested in working with that acuity level. My next tip is to do practice questions before your interview. It's important to not over-rehearse because you want to sound natural and you don't want to memorize certain answers word for word, but I think that it's definitely helpful to look up some practice questions. You can even find ones in particular that are more likely to show up in your interview based on what unit you are interviewing for, and practice them, kind of have a general idea of what you would say for each one, and think of possible clinical experiences that you could pull in to back up and strengthen your answers. For example, I know I did 2 official registered nurse interviews. One was just a regular registered nurse interview. One was specific for a new graduate RN position, which is the one I ended up taking. And then my third interview wasn't even really an official interview. It was more just a phone call with a unit manager and we just spoke. But I would say in both of my official interviews, situation-based questions came up. So that is helpful as well to think about clinical experiences, look up questions, and practice getting into the mindset of answering what you would do in certain situations. And of course, the situations are going to vary based on what unit you are interested in working in. Another question I noticed that came up a lot in my interviews, both times that I did an interview for the NICU, they asked me why the NICU. So be prepared to answer why you want to work in the specialty or unit that you're hoping to work in. And as well, another one that came up in both of my interviews was why this hospital. So be familiar with the hospital, their hospital values, what they really want to promote to the public that they are providing in their care. Be familiar with their values. Also, another tip, if you are someone that is nervous with interviews it can be very helpful to get a friend or family member to practice with you before your interview. I myself had my mom practice with me. I got her to ask me some possible questions and I answered them for her. And it's really helpful because you yourself, it can be hard to recognize areas where you could strengthen, but having that person practice an interview with you, she was able to give me tips and pointers or even help build my confidence in areas by saying, yeah, that answer is really good. So that is really helpful as well. And if you're someone that is very unexperienced in interviews or you're feeling really not ready, it could be helpful to get an interview coach. Another interview tip of mine is I always like to pretend while I'm in an interview that I'm just speaking to my family member or a friend. It helps me feel less nervous. And I feel it helps me come across more personable and more friendly and warm to the interviewer. But it's also important to remember to stay professional. So I never use slang, or it's not as relaxed as a conversation style as it would be with a friend or a family member. So it's important to still stay professional because it's an interview. But getting into the mindset that you're just speaking with a friend or a family member can help you become more relaxed, and it's going to translate over better to your interviewer. And also remember, in the healthcare shortage that we are in, employers are dying for more nurses. So they want you to interview well. Nobody is out to get you. They want you to do a good job because they want more nurses. So try to remember that, and hopefully that will make you feel more comfortable and confident going into your interview as well. Always ask a question at the end. They will, at the end of the interview, always ask, do you have any questions for us? And it makes you come across way more engaged and interested if you actually have a question to ask them. It doesn't matter what it is. Even if you look up online, there's a bunch of examples of good questions to ask, but ask at least one question. For example, I know in one of mine, I asked what scholarship opportunities the hospital has for registered nurses when they are continuing on in their education, because I knew I was definitely interested in pursuing a master's in nursing. So for me, that was of interest to know whatever hospital I went with, what the scholarship opportunities were for continuing education. And my final tip is wear an outfit that makes you feel confident. I know myself, when I'm dressed in an outfit that I love, it helps me feel good about myself, and that translates over and helps you feel more confident in your interview. I strongly believe it's important to always dress professional and wear something that you love and makes you feel good about yourself, makes you feel confident. For example, for my interview for my new graduate RN job, I still remember my outfit, and they actually complimented me on my outfit as soon as we started the interview. I wore my new pink suit that I got just for my interview, and I still love the suit to this day, and I'll have many other occasions to wear it as well, but I just made that purchase before my interview. It helped me feel so confident. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope my interview tips were helpful for you. I wish you the best of luck. You're going to absolutely nail your interview. If there's anything else that I can help with or any more questions that I didn't answer in this video, comment them down below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.